everybody, welcome back to another video of Marvel Contest of Champions. And today, we're going to be taking a closer look at Odin, the second champion coming to the contest in March of 2021. Now with these reviews, kind of since the beginning of this year, I've been trying out a few different things, just trying to see what works well and what doesn't. We found some stuff that just really doesn't work and some stuff that I quite like. And just overall, just been a lot of testing. And this video is nothing different. We're going to be trying something new for today's video, so I would really appreciate any and all constructive feedback you guys can give me in the comments below. If there's something that you think that really works and would like to see more of, let me know. As well, if there's something that you don't think works at all, please let me know in the comments below. I'd greatly appreciate any help that you guys can give me. But with today's video, the new format we're going to be trying is I'm going to be basing my reviews off of a new thing I've started over on Twitter, something that I'm calling the MCOC Fun-O-Meter. It's a series of posts I've been doing since the beginning of the year as a way for me to better score and review / rate the new champions and different champions in the contest. And it's a way for me to essentially format my reviews. But on the MCOC Fun-O-Meter, the review is split up into 6 categories. Now these are the categories we're going to be going through in this video. We'll go through them one by one. I'll give my little bit of feedback on them. But if you want to see the final MCOC Fun-O-Meter post, because there's stuff on there that I will not be going over in this video, if you want to check that out, go follow me over on my Twitter. I would like to hit 200 followers by the end of the year, so if you haven't already, go follow me over there. I would greatly appreciate it, because yeah, these Fun-O-Meters are going to be exclusive to Twitter for the time being at least, and my plan is to eventually move these onto Reddit as well, but for now these are a Twitter exclusive, so go check this out. You can check out Odin's Fun-O-Meter, Mangog, Psycho Man, basically the first 6 champions of the year of this year will all be up on there, so if you want to go check that out, feel free to do so. And, yeah, without further ado, let's jump into this. So the first category on the MCOC Fun-O-Meter is character model. Now this is essentially how cool, flashy, and eye-catching the character model is. Essentially, how good do they look? And overall, Odin is kind of a 50-50 for me, maybe a little more than that. Because overall, he's not the flashiest character, but he's not bad either, because he's kind of what I expected from a character like Odin. But standouts, though, for him are his helmet. It's a really crazy helmet, something I didn't quite expect, but it looks really cool, and it's definitely unique in the contest as well. And I also really love the staff that he's wielding. It just looks awesome, the shape and everything, and also when it's glowing, after he uses his special attacks, whatever, it looks so cool to see that thing glowing and just it flying through the air, and it looks so cool. So those are the real standouts for his player model for me. And then of course, capes are always cool. Who doesn't like a good cape? But there is kind of a weird thing on his shoulders. It looks almost as if like the cape isn't quite positioned correctly. I'm not entirely sure. Something looks off about it to me, but overall it does look really cool. And yeah, the rest of him, though, not the flashiest, but it makes sense. The armoring and the coloring, it just makes sense for Odin. So he's not the flashiest looking character except for his staff and that, but overall really solid looking and not a bad looking character at all. Now the next category on the MCOC Fun-O-Meter is animations. Now these are how unique, memorable, and enjoyable his overall animations are. These are basic attacks, special attacks, victory animations, just any little thing about him that I think is just really cool and want to highlight about him. Now overall, for Odin, I was really, I guess, surprised, but also really happy about this. Both his special 1 and 2 are really awesome. They look super duper cool. They both rock. And also his victory screens and that little intro like run out at the beginning. I like the little splash of color that they added in there. If I'm not mistaken, that's from the Bifrost. I might be incorrect on that. My Asgardian knowledge isn't as strong as some of my other areas of Marvel knowledge, so I'm 95% sure that's from the Bifrost, but if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. But overall, I'm a guy who just loves little splashes of color. That's why I like Jubilee so much, because she's super duper colorful. But Odin, overall, he's kind of got his gold and blue and red main colors to him. But that little running section at the start and his victory animation added a nice little splash of color that I do very much so appreciate. But overall, this is a character that he feels very smooth. Like when playing with him, like there's some characters who their motions feel very I don't know what to say, jagged. I'm not sure if that's the correct word, but they don't feel very smooth. It's kind of like they're jumping, or they're jump cutting almost between each movement. It's just kind of like pose, 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 pose. Whereas Odin just feels like every swing of his staff and every movement is a very smooth animation. So it's very, very satisfying to watch him in battle. And then, as I mentioned before, the glowing staff is just absolutely awesome. But yeah, moving on, we got the next category is character choice. Now this is just simply the level of excitement around this champion coming to the contest and just being in the contest in general. Now Odin is a character who is not my favorite Marvel character, but he's a super duper important one, and it's for that reason that I'm excited for this character. He's just someone that made sense to be in this game. He's such a big name overall in Marvel and in the stories of Thor and everything. He's such a big character, and he's one I've been waiting for a very long time to come to the game. But yeah, he's just not my personal favorite. So he's kind of the same as to how I was excited for Apocalypse and Professor X. Like, neither of them are my favorite characters. So they're not really my favorite mutants, except for maybe like Patrick Stewart's Professor X. But yeah, they're not my favorite characters, but they're very, very important, and just ones that, like, I understand the importance of them coming to the contest. So that's where my excitement for Odin came in. It was like, yes, finally, Odin is coming, but is he my favorite character? I'm gonna have to say no. Now moving on, the fourth category on the MCOC Funnelmeter is specifically for his Special 3 animation. And this is just simply how awesome their Special 3 animation is, and as always, the bigger the better. Now Odin's is not the greatest. He's kind of in I'd say a middle ground for me, maybe slightly higher. Again, you can see my final scoring on the actual MCOC Funnelmeter post on Twitter. But yeah, he's kind of a middle ground, maybe slightly above middle ground for his Special 3. Overall, it is really cool from beginning to end. It's grand in scale. Like, I mean, literally, he grows and he becomes this giant. And yeah, it fits Odin, essentially. It's kind of what I would want and expect for someone like Odin. So yeah, it suits the character, and it is cool, but it's just not the flashiest, you know? I mean, of course, what can I say? There's lightning going on behind him. Like, that's great. That's really, really cool. But the one thing I don't like about his Special 3 is that there isn't too much action from it. It's just kind of like he grows, he goes, roar, he throws his staff once, and that's it. Like, it's one hit, just simply. And in some ways, I wish there was maybe a little bit more, maybe some lightning strikes coming down or something like that, or maybe like he swings his staff first and then throws it. Just a little more action, a little more flashiness, I think would have gone a long way for such a character. Because again, he's someone I would expect to be just a very grand scale. He's Odin, for Pete's sake, you know. I'm expecting something very, very big from a character like him. So maybe a little underwhelming for what I was expected, but it could also be that I just had such high expectations for this character. Now moving on to Category 5. Category 5 is replayability, and this is just simply how likely I am to use this character again and again, and I think Odin is someone that I will likely play lots and want to play lots as well. He's someone that I will probably grind for in the arena, even if it's just the 3-star, which is normally just what I do, but the 3 stars are just a way for me to get to use the newer champions instead of waiting months and months and months to actually get like a 4 or 5 or hell, a 6-star. That takes a lot longer, but you know what I mean. It's just a way for me to get to play the characters and have some fun with them. Now, as I mentioned before, he's a very smooth-feeling and appealing champion, and he'll definitely have his usefulness for sure. A lot of his kit relies on just the variety of buffs that this guy can have. There's tons and tons and tons, and the list just keeps going in the CCP Champion Spotlight document that we were given. Yeah, the list just keeps going and going and going, and one thing that does really appeal to me is a note that they have here under his strengths and weaknesses. He's considered a giant slayer. It says here that Odin's primary damage source is direct damage that scales with his opponent's max health. This gives him a much easier time against tanky opponents, with large health stats. Now, I think this is going to make Odin very, very useful, especially towards that end-game content, where the champions that you're up against just have increasing and increasing health pools, and it just sounds like that's not going to be something really to worry about with Odin, because his damage output will scale to those opponents. So, yeah, going up against some of the bigger fights, like maybe the Grandmaster or the Collector or so on, he might be really, really good for those kinds of fights. So, I think, yeah, he's definitely gonna have his usefulness, and there's also just some unique just strategies around using him. Like it also says here under one of his weaknesses is that he's weak when using him in consecutive fights. Now it says here that Odin performs best when he can alternate fights with his allies in order to gain the effects of Odin's sleep. If he's used in consecutive fights, he will become much weaker after the first fight. So yeah, there's just some really unique strategies that you'll have to consider when playing Odin. Yeah, I think to me, that's just really appealing and makes me want to just play him a lot more. So yeah, he's someone that I may not use every single time, but he's someone that I definitely won't be complaining about having to use. Now, the sixth and final category for the MCOC Funometer is the abilities category, and this is how unique and useful their abilities are, and are they easy to understand for a casual player, because complex champions don't always translate into fun champions, and then plus how good, using air quotes on good there, a champion is also a small factor here, because let's be honest, they aren't that fun if they suck. Now, I did go over a little bit what I wanted to say about the abilities in the replayability section, but just to reiterate here, yeah, he scales to the opponent very well, like his damage, so yeah, he's going to be super duper useful, again, for those big bosses, those endgame contents, quests and fights and everything, so I think he's just going to be super duper useful. He's got a variety of buffs at his disposal, and as I mentioned, he's got some very unique characteristics about him that add an extra layer of strategy to using him, which I do like. It's not a super complex strategy where you've got to do X, Y, and Z, Mars, Jupiter, and Pluto must align on Tuesday the 14th of March, and, you know, it's not some crazy complex strategy like that. It's just something simple, but it gets you thinking, and that's the level of strategy I like. It's not super duper complex. Again, no planets aligning at 12:15 on a Wednesday, none of that kind of crazy strategy, because that just blows my brain half the time. But this kind of strategy is it's something that you got to keep in the back of your head, and just something that adds, yeah, just some uniqueness to the character, and something I really, really do like. But yeah, so there we have it. There is my review of Odin. Once again, the second champion coming to the contest in 2021. Now, as I mentioned, if you want to see the full MCOC Funometer and see his final score, each champion is given a score out of 10 at the end. So if you want to see what his final score was, go follow me on Twitter. There'll be a link down in the description below. And you can also check out the previous Funometer posts that I've done. For right now, I'm just doing new champions as they come out, but my plan is to go back and do some past champions as well. Just right now with my school schedule, I can just manage to do the one or two posts every month kind of thing, and then as things open up for me, we'll expand into doing more champions. But if this is something that does interest you, go check it out on Twitter. As I said before, again, the goal is trying to hit 200 followers on there by the end of the year, so would greatly appreciate it if some of you guys went and joined me over there. But with all that said and done, we are at the end of the video now, so I'm just gonna say thank you all so very much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to give the video a thumbs up. And if you like this kind of stuff, we got lots of it coming out all the time, so feel free to subscribe to the channel. And let me know what you think about Odin in the comments below. I'm greatly curious to hear what you guys have to say. But without further ado, I'm just gonna say thank you all so very much for watching. We took a look at Odin in a Marvel Contest of Champions once again. Thank you all so very much for watching. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.